Okay.
There you go.
Okay. There we are. So, welcome to this week's class. For those of you who are watching online, it's how to stop hiding from your customers. And it's a good class today. It's a good class. We're going to go round and round. And first, I'm going to start with Karen Karsten. Karen, how are you? Tell everybody what you're doing and what's new.
Well, I'm writing, mostly writing. And September, I always love September because it's kind of like you're starting over. So do you have a piece of paper in front of you?
I do.
I'd like you to draw a small circle on that
Is this for me or for everyone?
for everyone.
Okay. Oh, well, okay. So I'll draw a small circle on it. Is it this size? Okay.
It can be any size. It can be smaller, it can be any size. That's good.
Okay.
Okay. You got it?
I got it. Hold on. I'm going to make it brighter so that they can see it.
Okay.
There's my circle
Okay. And then across the circle, I'd like you
on
to
the
write the
inside.
word, yeah, on the inside of the circle, write reset, Reset.
Okay.
And so September is a great month to push your reset button. So I'd like you to
There
do
it
that.
is.
Just push your reset button.
Yeah. And then I can write down all the things I want to reset.
Right.
Right. What do I want to reset on? Oh my gosh. Well, what are you writing what are you going to put on your reset button, Karen?
Well, I'm going to keep working on my book and declutter.
Yeah.
The bad word, the very bad word. The trouble with decluttering is that it creates a flat space usually, which is just begging to have things put on it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that we can kind of put the things that we want to reset on. I like that. I like
Do you
that.
have clutter? Do you have clutter?
Do I have clutter? Oh yeah.
I guess I'll ask Mark.
Um, well, the reason I have clutter, which many of you know the secret, is that while I quit doing Project Elf, I didn't.
Oh,
So I still have every 14 days, I still have things that I'm bringing into the homeless shelters. So I have an entire hidden amount of things that feel like clutter, but it's things that are going into the community. Like I don't personally need 700 baby diapers, but I go through them in a year. So
Yeah.
just managing that. And now I'm coming into winter, and this is the time, fall, where we really have a lot of need in the community and in our homeless shelters, because a lot of people come to Minnesota from somewhere else, so they don't have a coat, they don't have
Yeah.
socks, they don't have whatever. And a lot of people are picking up jobs in this gig economy, especially if English isn't your first language, that they are all just dropping packages off at people's door. So you cannot believe how many people talk about the socks I give them, because I give them wool socks. They didn't know that existed. So yes, I have clutter. It is my own to manage, even though I'm giving it away. But yes, I have a lot of clutter. I have a lot of clutter, and I have reviews that I got to manage. My Google review. So what's on your reset, Karen? Clutter.
Declutter writing. I have a writing group that I manage twice a month, and they're doing pretty well. So I like that. And
Yeah.
especially my guy that's 94 years old, which so
My
I'm not
goodness.
the oldest one in the group this time.
Well, I love it that somebody's 94 and still hacking it out.
Oh yeah, he's good. He just stopped driving because it was going to cost more to park two cars. So
Right.
he,
What a great life. What a great life.
Yes.
Well,
Yep.
I'm gonna go to Jennifer. Jennifer, what are you hitting the reset button on?
I actually have to hit the reset button on doing and reset back to being first and then doing from there.
Yes.
That's what I need to do. That's what I've just recently has been brought to my attention. So,
Being versus doing and then doing from being. Wow.
yes.
That I'm gonna write that down because that might, Jennifer, that might have been your personal gift to me.
You can thank my instructor, Jeffrey Wilson,
Ah,
as what he says is that most people come from life with the do, have, be mentality when you need to have the be, do, have mentality.
okay. I
Yep.
can't write that fast.
Okay.
Okay. Most
So
people,
most people come from the mindset of you have to do in order to have, to be happy, grateful, whatever.
right.
But instead, you start with be happy, grateful, whatever. Do from that mindset to have what it is that you desire.
Wow. Yes.
Yep. Yep.
I really
Yeah.
feel like we could make a song out of this.
You probably could.
The do be have. Do be have.
Yeah.
Have be do. Have be do's. I mean, I like that right there feels like do have be do have. Yes.
Yeah.
Or
You
something I
know,
could bring to Renfest.
There you go.
Yeah.
I've been working on the concept of satisfied, because a lot of times when I'm working with clients, it's the do that they've been doing, but you know, what would it take for you to be satisfied? And for some people, it isn't up, it's out. So,
Yeah.
just how do you know when you're satisfied? How do you know when there's enough? Most of us, like, it's not enough. We don't think it's enough, but we don't know what enough is. And I think that's part of the B.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sandy, what's on your reset button? Thanks for that.
Well,
Thanks for that gift, Jennifer.
You're welcome.
I can see Sandy wrote it down too.
yeah. Oh, yes, I did. Well, last year, I don't know if you remember, but I came up with this slogan for myself, whatever, be and do and be carefree.
Oh yeah, that's right. Be
Did
and do
that.
and be carefree. Yeah.
Be and do and be carefree. It's like, just quit worrying about everything, just do and just be and just
Yeah.
do it. Because I spend too much time ruminating. My reset, well, I just got back, from Europe, so so lots of things to reset, get back into my Minneapolis routine, my regular routine, which is, it's like, oh my goodness. So I was awake. I fell asleep last night about 9:30 with all the lights on. And then I woke up at 4 this morning.
Wow.
I've been up since 5:30.
Good. Me too.
So anyways, it's always, I mean, the jet lag kind of works on coming back. 'Cause I
Yes.
get up earlier, but that'll go away after a while. Let's see what else to reset. For our accountability group that starts on Sunday, I need to make some new goals. I want to, I want to, do a reset on my work habits, my schedule. Because before I left on my trip, I was just like, I was obsessed with it. Like, everything was revolved around, oh, my clients, where will they be in their process? And
Yes.
what else do I need to do to get, for my trip? Like, So I was just kind of a mess.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and also, declutter. I am still working on decluttering. Yes. As Karen is, as most people are. So that's about it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I do want to, for everyone that's watching and that's here, I do want to remind everyone that, Sandy's big deal this last year. I mean, you've had a lot of big deals in the last 1 year. From really putting effort into taking time to figure out what you want. You figured it out with your business, you figured it out with this big trip that you just went on, and now you get to have one more piece of Mickey Mike Worth stuff, right? Of learning how to leave on a trip when all that work is still in process. Right? That the world isn't going to stop transactions just because you're out of town. So have you ever left in the middle of a season like this for such a big trip where you like nobody can call you really?
I did. I mean, really, I could take calls and everything, but my outgoing email was, I'm pretty much unavailable, call this
Right.
person. But I didn't have anything set up on my voicemail or text. But nobody calls anybody anymore, so
They just text.
it's just spam. Yeah. So I didn't get really that many texts either. Maybe just one work text from somebody that didn't know I was gone. But I had set everybody up like for what was going to happen. But yes, I went to Spain in 2015, and I did have clients at that time, but I had a agent that we had worked together for a long time, so she took care of everything. I didn't have to worry about anything. And so that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But in 1997, when I went to Europe, that was really nice because there's no email, there's no cell phone, there's no connection. So that was really great because we were gone, and
We were gone. Yes.
somebody else just took care of the clients, and I didn't have to think about it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there is something about being gone that is lovely.
Oh yeah, that's great. I wish that things were like that sometimes again.
Yes. Well, they can be.
Yes, they can
They
be.
can be.
No
And this was a step
connectivity.
towards that, right? Of,
Yes.
we get to be gone. You get to
Yes.
be, right? You get to be
I
first.
I was gone, and like this one client, I sort of thought about calling her while I was gone, but I'm like, you know what? She doesn't expect me to call her, and everything can wait a few more days, and
Yeah.
everything's fine. So yesterday, when I did call her, we made a price reduction and we got an offer.
Ooh, I like
So
it.
Great.
I like to work.
I
Just
like
wait.
it.
Just call her when you get back. We do the price reduction. We got the offer. She accepted it this morning. We're good.
Yay.
Uh-oh. Are we just screen
Yay.
sharing? Oh, here we go.
Yes.
And
Oh,
here
yeah.
we go.
Here we go.
On that topic is the opposite of that, which is
Enable
stop.
editing.
huh?
You got it.
Yes. Is how to stop hiding from your customers. But sometimes we have to hide from our customers.
Right.
Because you got to reset.
Because you got to reset. You got to reset. One of the things that I like about today's conversation is one, I did put some cute cat pictures in here for all of you because we always like to see a cat. And not that I'm a crazy cat lady, but I'm not a cat owner. I'm a dog owner, but we have a lot of cat friendly people in our lives. So
I have 4 now.
4, see what I mean? And
Yeah.
Sandy's got one.
Your sister has cats for you. Your sister
Yeah.
has cats for you.
Yes, I have. Yes, I do have others who have cats for me. Yes, that is true. But again, the first question is like, are you really hiding? And sometimes people kind of look at me and they're like, well, I'm just too busy, or I'm this, or I'm that, and I'm whatever. So there's a difference between avoidance and hiding, right? Like hiding is a lot. So we'll talk about what that difference is. But again, this is that statement, you gotta wanna, right? that the first thing about customers or doing business or whatever is you gotta wanna. So you gotta wanna get out there. You gotta wanna make that thing. There's something about what you're doing that has to be a you gotta wanna. So when you're looking at kind of the top 10 reasons today, I do want you to kind of think about your you gotta wanna. And is it just something you don't want to do? Right? Some people don't want to do social media. Some people don't want to do accounting. Some people don't want to do you know, rah rah. But you got to find your gotta wanna. So as we're going today, I'm just going to remind yourself to give yourself a little homework around you gotta wanna. And there's a lot of information here. Again, it is always a floodgate of information that you're going to have flowing out of my head. But today, I would think about, again, the homework you want to give yourself based on the knowledge. Again, for those of you who are tuning in on YouTube, we have 25,000 people that have watched these classes now. So don't think for a minute that this isn't valuable content. It is. And so my name is Mickey Mikeworth. I own a place called Mikeworth Consulting. And you can tell we've done this a little bit later because now I'm at 26 years, not 25. But I am a business strategist. That's what I do really well. And I also wrote the Prosperity Business Model, which is what people in academia know me for, is writing that economic model. So anyway, the other thing that has changed here is that when we wrote this original slide, I was at 9 million Google reviews, and now I'm at 12 million. I am trying to use my Google reviews as a way to kind of help small businesses grow, and by giving them a review that's actually going to hit an algorithm. So I've been doing that for the last 36 months. And I went from 0 to 12 million in 36 months, which is really hard to do. And that's about taking photography and talking about things and so forth. So some of you may know that piece. But when we look at prosperity mindset, that's what I dedicated my life to, is really thinking about things a little differently. And again, prosperity, there's a kinder, gentler, thoughtful, more loving way to do business in the world. And if you do it that way, you'll probably make a lot more money. So that's why we wrote the Prosperity Business Model. But again, that prosperity mindset isn't about waiting for confidence to show up. It's realizing that action's the engine of confidence, right? Is doing, right? We learn by doing. So you don't have to be confident just to be at the start line. You have to go to the start line to remember how to be confident. Some of these slides today are going to have a lot of content in them. So just use your phone, screenshot them. You are welcome to screenshot what's important to you so you can kind of look at it later, because I have a lot of action steps in the very end. But again, just showing up. So today we're going to kind of talk about reasons that people hide, identifying what that is, and then just giving you some tips and takes away. Like I said, we have a big, golden, delicious apple of news for you today. So I'm going to slice it up into some small pieces. But that's what you're hoping for, is to just take an apple slice of love with you and figure out what's right for you. Not all of this content is going to be useful to you, but some of it is. So write the stuff down or take a picture of what is. And when you're doing it, you're also going to be reading through your mindset, right? So you are looking at the material through your values, through your vision, and what it is that you want to have happen. So when we're talking about that, that's always what I'm looking for, is ways for people to magnify that are natural, that are within like the real way you can do it, not just here's the rules. What I have learned about 26 years in finance and all of these years as a business strategist is there aren't rules that work for everyone. There are not rules. Well, maybe there are two. File your taxes. File your taxes and keep good books, right? These are rules that work for everyone. But as far as the rest of running your business, you'll find your way, and you'll find your way in uniquely the way that you can do it. So not everyone, if you've ever been to a race, I'm married to a runner, but if you've ever watched people run, they all run differently. They all have a different gait, a different speed, a different way that they're doing it. You're going to run your race just your own way. And the other thing that I remind everyone is that when we talk about I'm not doing enough or whatever that is, a hiding, I just whatever. There's a lot of stuff that's hidden. But the number one reason that we're shying away from the things that we want to do is that we are fatigued. So fatigue is the number one reason that people are kind of hiding out sometimes. And it's either that you are fatigued from the work or the environment itself is fatiguing. So that's the first thing that I just want to kind of pop up that isn't about the other top 10 list, is fatigue is that big item. And the other thing I want to kind of put out there for everyone is that tiredness also resembles fear of failure and rejection. So they look alike. They're besties, but they're not the same. So being tired and exhausted from your operating procedure is very different than I'm afraid to fail. So they look the same, but they both lead to the same outcome, which is I have this protective instinct to hide my time, or to hide how much time I'm spending with other people, or that I'm going to really feel protective over disappointment. So tiredness can also look like this other kind of spot. So I just want to kind of throw that out there. They have the same tool, right? Which is it's time to reframe. You're getting some feedback. So when you're looking at all of the things that you have, if you've been in class with me, you go like, hey, resistance, what's the purpose of resistance, right? When we're starting to feel resistance about opting in, knock, 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 right? This is the time, knock, knock, knock. Resistance is a doorway that says, oh yeah, I'm closed for a reason. Knock, 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 right? Let's start knocking on the door of resistance of why I'm not opting in and start asking it a question. And one of the first questions is to reframe it. Not what's wrong with me, but to go, what's the feedback I should be getting here? Right? This is like obviously this is bugging me. What's the feedback I should be getting here? And suddenly that isn't about what's wrong with me. It's about what's the information that I should be reading. And that right there, that one piece is so helpful to start asking a different question. But the resistance is the message that says, hey, there's a doorway here. And really start looking at what's the data here. And sometimes the data is, right, that I don't like doing that thing. Sometimes the data is that I have unresolved issues, because like we all have them. So it is to just start looking at that knock of resistance as a chance to ask for feedback, and to just go, oh, okay, why is this not working? We were talking to someone the other day about their business, and she was like, I don't know why this isn't working. I've been putting it out there and whatever. And she only had a mailing list of 600 people. I said, out of this list of 600 people, how many people have seen what you do already? And she's like, oh yeah, everybody. These people have been with me for a long time. Okay, well, the feedback loop is not why are these people not buying? The feedback loop is you need new customers, right? So sometimes it is also that piece of resistance is about reframing. The other thing that I talk about a lot is perfectionism. And perfectionism is a sneaky little friend, because perfectionism isn't like always that I just want it to be right. Sometimes perfectionism is that I just don't want it to suck. And I think, right, that I think the level that I can get it to only brings it to still sucks. So sometimes it's just like, can we just look at what perfectionism is? And sometimes perfectionism isn't like, it has to be the top of the line. No, but it still sucks when I do it. So an example is that I had this coloring book project from Workaway, and I sent it to my new assistant, who happened to be a designer. So she sends me back the cover of my coloring book, and I went, oh wow, I really do suck. And the amount of time it took her to reformulate what I had was exactly 3 hours. And I went, oh gosh, I've been delaying this project because it still sucked for 10 years, because it was, but that person just took 3 hours of their time and boom, we've got it. Now I can reproduce that. So sometimes perfectionism it doesn't always fall into that real blatant category of it has to be perfect, always has to be type A, whatever. That's not always it. Sometimes it is that I just actually kind of think it still sucks. So when you are looking at that, it's that progress. So my tool for everyone is exactly like some of the things that I've done is, let me just keep working on this and get as much in there as I can to the even if it sucks list. So even if it's like kind of crummy, I can get enough in there for someone else to pick up and be great. So if I have all the content in there, I also just had a book that I finished, and I had to hit it to my editor, and he's like, Mickey, there's a lot in here. You got a lot further than the last one that I had him do. And so he noticed that model was working. As long as I just give them enough to work with, then somebody else can kind of do it. And that's kind of the way to stop self-sabotaging, is to go, let me just put everything I have into this category and then see if I can have somebody else help me work it through, right? Let me get a different feedback loop. Another thing that we talk about is just burnout, because there's just high demands. And I think one of the people that's on this call, Jennifer, did you used to be a 911 operator? Did I remember that right?
Oh, no, I was a clerk. I just pushed
Okay.
papers. So
Yeah. So in it, but again, right, constantly in a place where things are hot.
yes.
Yes. So
And
when
the
you're,
level of, and when you're putting that constant customer demand,
yeah,
it's in that arena, it's more needy, I need, and or more of a negative nature than a positive nature. So
right,
definitely can go to that slide right there.
right, right. That, it's really easy to be burned out from just everybody needing something. And especially if you're doing frontline care in situations that are really difficult, we have a lot of people in our community that are frontline service providers and that are doing things with people that are in a lot of need. So one of the reasons that we need to retreat is because the actual request of whoever you're serving is so demanding. And so where I go with that in that prosperity is that really understanding that abundance includes your well-being. And that burnout is a scarcity mindset in action. Like, this is the piece I have to really remind people, especially if you're doing consulting, if you're doing anything in the service industry, is that there's a belief here that you must endlessly give. I have to give, I have to give, I have to give in order for you to receive. Exactly where Jennifer started us out today, right? Which is, right, on that concept of you do, have, be, right? That you are at the end of the list. And I'm saying exactly what she was saying, which is you have to be at the front of the list. You have to be, then you can do, and then it has. So it's not just, it sounds so easy, like set some boundaries, but it is to really understand that your natural tendency is to serve. So you actually have this conflict of self-care and sometimes my life objective. So when you are someone who is really understands that they are here to serve, that's in direct conflict with this other belief that says, oh, I should take care of myself. So you have to really look at burnout as a scarcity mindset to go, oh, why am I burning out? Here's all the things. How do I add abundance to that part of this recipe? And it is also about being joyful. And when you don't have a lot of resources, when you're feeling strapped for time, when you're feeling strapped for any type of resource, I don't have people to help me, I can't pay payroll, I can't hire people or whatever. That's all scarcity mindset. And so you're going to keep getting burned out. I was sitting with somebody in their business. They had a pizza store, and I'd kind of been avoiding it because I just knew it was going to be a bit of a cluster. And I finally just said, I'm in, but here's why I'm avoiding you. And he goes, oh, well, all of those things are true. And I said, look, I can tell you right now, sitting in this business, that you have a $2.5 million business, and I'm sure you're underperforming. And he's like, yeah, I know 50,000 of it I'm screwing up. So he already knew the 50,000 of growth that he wasn't doing because he didn't know how to do the next steps. And he had just gone through. So a business has certain places that it grows and certain ways that it grows. It doesn't matter what the business is. So when you are a business that is in 700,000 to 1.2 million, you got to tear everything down and rebuild it. When you're in a business that's at 1.7 million to get to 2.5 billion, you have to turn 2.5 million. You have to tear down everything you knew and rebuild it again. So there are just certain cycles of rebuilding. And so when you're thinking about scarcity mindset, it doesn't just magically go away. You get it at every level. So you're going to get it at beginner level, medium level, higher level. It's not like it's a one thing that you cure and you never have it again. Every new level gives you a new piece of scarcity mindset to enjoy. Another reason that people hide from customers in general is a lot of times they're just feeling really defensive and they don't know why. And I've got two on why people get really defensive about, like, why isn't it growing or why isn't this happening? Is sometimes it's about competition, that you think everyone is in your field. And then you're like, oh, I have to protect whatever, right? We just had this huge court case in the United States in the music industry, and there up came a recording that a famous musician where I live is a guy named Prince. And he is a musician. And one of the things that Prince had said in this recording that was now in this court case was, I spent my entire life fighting to protect my music when I found out that I should have been protecting the musicians themselves. And that piece of learning he got in the last few years of his life. So when we're starting to think about competition and why are we defensive, I would think about what you're protecting, right? Are you protecting that right? Like Prince was going, look, I don't want anybody to steal my music. But what he didn't think of was that every musician he loved was perhaps being bullied, right? So sometimes a defensive stance is about, again, scarcity mentality. Sometimes it's really needed, but it's, again, right, always being on the defensive. And when you're defensive, what do you forget? You forget that there's enough for everybody. You forget, right, that there is, right, these are not rivals. These are not your enemies. That somebody who's doing better than you is not your enemy. They might be your next teacher. So really start looking at the people around you that you are maybe feeling a little envious of, or that are just doing it great. It's just to go, man, why don't we collab, right? Why don't we get to know each other? Or maybe I can learn something from what they're doing. The next one that about hiding is really, this happens a lot for people who have been in business a long time because they themselves have grown, especially for business owners who have invested in themselves. They become out of alignment with their old messaging, but it's still working, but they're not interested in it anymore. So this part is also attached to I'm afraid to change because my old way is working. And I don't want to lose people. I don't want to lose content viewers. I don't want whatever. So sometimes we're hiding from change, but we ourselves have changed. So it's just catching up the evolutionary process. So, you know, what do we do in that? Right. So if you know, like, we see this a lot in stores. I have some of our very popular stores here that are locally owned are also part of my bevy of people who are working in prosperity mindset. And sometimes they just walk into their own store, which is fabulous. And they're like, I am so sick of me. I am so sick of this. I look at it every day, right? That they're just not into it because they're sick of looking at themselves in the mirror every day. Boy, don't we know that, right? So then they're like, yeah, I'm just going to go sit and be sick of myself together alone. So what I just tell people, like, is that message is a compass. It's saying, like, look, if you're sick to death of what you're offering, then you got to adjust it. Then you got to move it up. Something about it is not matching your values. So it's only a matter of time, because you have to, people who work on themselves always have to be authentically and energetically connected to their body of work. So sometimes you're in the mood to do this thing, and sometimes you're in the mood to do that thing. So really look at feelings as your compass, because it will keep you fresh. It will keep you excited about what you're doing. It's easy to show up when you're excited to be there, right? When you're excited to be there. The next one that I bring up is just, again, around, sometimes we all have negative experiences that we're holding on to, right? We all, I will tell you right now, if we went around the entire globe and asked people if they remember someone who was a terrible customer, right? Or they saw someone acting inappropriately in a place, right? So sometimes our negative experiences from the past, we hold on to them like a badge. Like, I lived through that terrible person. Well, it's also holding on to trauma. So trauma hides everywhere. So one of the things that you want to really look at is, again, the things we can't necessarily control or identify all the time. Unconditional bias. So sometimes someone will remind me of that terrible person that was at my drive-through, and I will avoid them. So sometimes there's actually an unconditional bias or a conditional bias within us that we don't control, that we just have to recognize. And that's why, knock, 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 right? When we feel resistance, we should ask it a question. Knock, knock, knock. Why is that person bugging me? Knock, knock, knock. Oh, they remind me of that crazy person, right? Knock, knock, knock. Years ago, when dinosaurs ruled the earth, I was a hairdresser. And we had a WW sign that we would put next to someone who was kind of just a trouble person, and that was the weird woman. That the desk had decided that they had to be able to clue someone in that this customer was negative, or that they were going to be crazy or whatever. So they just put a little WW next to it to remind whoever was going to get that customer that this is a WW. So be careful, apply all your skills. And we had training on WW of what to do with somebody who is, who can be very traumatic. So when you are looking at this list of terrible customers that you have in your mindset, that you can easily get to them, is just remind that that's the past, that's not the future. And one of the reasons why when I did the art for this slide, for those of you who are listening to it, you won't see the art, but is that I put a big mouth on there. And that is, you have to talk it out. You can't just keep this picture in your head. You're going to have to get it out in some way, to speak it through, to talk about why that was a negative impact for you, or what was it that you're holding. And really, you want to talk about why that maybe made your life difficult, and what you learned from it. And a lot of times by the reason I say talk about it is that you got to put it to bed. So when we kind of go through that grief process, for those of you who have not read Mary Hayes Greco's book on grief, a lot of times this is about grief, that we are actually holding on to the grief of maybe a customer that blew up at us or a situation that went poorly, and we have to go through a process to get through it. So if you are hiding customer trauma, it's going to store itself in there as grief, and the tool to get rid of it is the same. So, and that's an 8-point process. So, and it's quick. You can do it in 20 minutes. You can do it in the car. It's kind of great. And Mary Hayes Greco is one of the world's leading people who's also here in our city. And she wrote the Grief Institute. So there's work out there if that's your thing, if that's your reason to hide. Next on the list is self-doubt, right? Self-doubt is kind of, I also think it's kind of the hidden spot of, why am I doubting? Again, knock, 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 right? Knock, knock, knock. I'm feeling hesitation. I'm reluctant to put myself out there. Knock, knock, knock. Why is that? And I was talking to somebody who's a speaker, and I said, what is up with that? And we got down to it. The reason she was reluctant is she actually hated her whole media kit. So the minute that we just said, I said, well, it looks like I said, well, that's a $2,000 problem to fix. And she's like, what? I said, well, you can keep your belief, or we can invest the $2,000 to redo your media kit and have a great photographer. And you can get rid of that. And she was like, oh my gosh, that's so good. That's so right. So it is sometimes, again, looking at why you have self-doubt, right? And that is also sometimes people really we see this a lot in males who put their self-worth based on what their career path is. So they attach their career performance to who they are as a person. So it's really pulling those apart, right? That you as a person have value, and the work that you do has value, but these are not, we see this a lot in brand conversations where people go, you are your brand. And I go, no, 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 no. Your brand can be a reflection of you, but you always have to think about it as that little sister that sits at the table with you. She's going to have her own plans. Your brand is going to have its own plans. You don't get to decide what your little sister gets to do at the table. So that when you start to recognize that you are independent from your brand and you are independent as a person, it makes it a lot easier to kind of move forward in a way that's productive, that's helpful. And that way you don't have to keep questioning your capabilities. And questioning our capabilities, well, I do that a lot. You do too, right? So when we start to also look at, sometimes I don't like the product I'm selling. Sometimes I don't like the company I'm working for. We had this with, if you remember the scandals of US Bank, we had all of these people who wouldn't tell you where they worked because they were so not connected to what leadership was doing. So when you're starting to look at, are you actually liking the products, the services, the process, what in your stratosphere of service do you not actually feel confident in? So sometimes people don't sell a product in the financial industries because they don't want the 81 pages of paperwork. And then you just go, okay, well, you don't get the sale. You can make a sale, but if you don't get the paperwork through, it doesn't make a difference. So sometimes you have to find where someone's lacking confidence in an elongated process. So, on here, we also have people who are with people that have multiple layers of service. So you might be shopping for a home, you might be purchasing a home, you might be selling a home, you might be redoing a home, but all of these have other players in them. So really understanding what's hindering your outreach. And is it because of you, or is it because of the confidence you have at points on the completion line to finish? So if you don't have a great closer, if you don't have, somebody that can stage your place, there's a lot of ways that this can go poorly. And for many businesses, sometimes that's sales, or they don't have a great feeling about their media. So thinking about, sometimes I'm not reaching out because I don't feel like we're really doing a good job. And the way to do that, right? What's the prosperity pool there, is to just go, oh, that's a message, right? That's my feedback loop, right? Resistance, knock, knock, knock. It is there. And if you hear the panting, that's not me, that's the dog. He just came back in. He's like wanting to tell me something. So, and therefore he's telling you. So when we look at that prosperity mindset solution, is to really look at what's not aligned and really compassing in. And when I say compassing in, it's a lot like that thing that Karen gave us of, right, kind of drawing a map on a piece of paper to go, okay, what needs refining, right? What is it? And what is it that I have to disconnect from? And what do I need to connect from? What do I need to disconnect from? What do I need to connect to, right? What do I need to do in of those pieces? And sometimes that is also about changing a business model. And when we change a business model, it's often about where the revenue stream is derived from. So when I talk about a business model, it's not to say stop selling screwdrivers and start selling ladies' hats, right? I'm not saying that. I'm saying, look, if you're selling screwdrivers for a purpose or a reason that isn't as good, is something that you're not aligned to, you're not going to do it. But if suddenly you have, what is it that you can attach to, and where is it going? So sometimes selling screwdrivers to schools that are learning to teach kids how to use screwdrivers is a lot more better feeling to you. So now we'll change your business model, right? To stop selling old guys in a small town and start selling to young kids who are just starting in the world. That's what I mean by business model piece. So looking at your compass, acknowledging your compass. Sometimes who you're having as a customer isn't the right one anymore. This is comparison. The next one is comparison. Oh boy, do we have so much comparison. It's different than competition. Comparison is a kinder, gentler, thoughtful, more evil defensive strategy. Slightly, because when we are comparing, we are always comparing not equals. We are always comparing this perfect thing to that not perfect thing. We are not always comparing that. So comparison's subtle, it's devious, and it's out in the wild. So what I mean by that is you never know when it's going to come up. So we compare ourselves to a lot of things. We compare ourselves to all of the stuff that's happening on social media. We compare our brand, we compare ourselves, we compare our voice, we compare our editing, we compare all of it. And then we start to get really defensive. And you don't need to. So what you really, again, it's that data, right? So if that is you, if you are the comparison person, and what is you gotta wanna, right? What's the you gotta wanna that you want out of that? And that is, you gotta wanna know what they're really doing. And you gotta wanna know that. So start looking at what your competitors are doing well. And not going, I'm this, I'm that, is just really looking at what is it that they're doing well? What do I love about this place? One of the things that happens for me as a business strategist is I take people out on field trips a lot. So because a business strategy session for me is 3 hours long. And so we have 3 hours. And a lot of times I will take them out into their competition and go, now let's take some data here. What are you really liking? What are you learning? What is there? And for brick and mortar stores, the number one, if you're curious, what is the number one field trip that we go on for a brick and mortar store? Number one is lighting, is understanding how to light product. That is the number one field trip that we are on. And understanding how product setup is done for someone to be able to reach out and grab a product. If you have been in, let's use Walgreens as an example, and you have decided that you would like some deodorant, but it's locked up behind a cage, right? You are going to obviously say, I don't want to have someone unlock a can of deodorant for me. So they are taking it because it's getting stolen a lot. That was their solution. But what ends up happening is they stop the sales of their deodorant by 90%. Is that meeting the theft need, right? So when you're looking at your competition, you're really going to look at like, what is it what's there, right? How does that look? What does that look like? So you want to really take about 10 minutes in any day. Doesn't have to be every day, but in any day, and look at what your competition is doing well, and look at what you like about them. And that will automatically shift you out of fear-based comparison or lesser than. It turns you into that curious navigator. And that's where you want to get to. So comparison is about really going, let me be the fearless navigator in my marketplace or in my ideas, and not really getting defensive. Defensive behavior in general is sometimes about shame. And that's why I say defensiveness is a really big one. And a lot of times people will stuff something and not recognize it as shame, or that they are fear of being shamed. So, let's just be a curious person and look at what the customers are doing. Again, limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are another one because they're a shapeshifter. They are a shapeshifter. If you were going to put them into a show, if you were going to put limiting beliefs into one show on television, it would be Star Trek. That limiting beliefs are completely morphing, and they can become everything from the Trouble from Tribbles to a Klingon. It's just so interesting. So when you are looking at limiting beliefs, especially around self-worth, the value of what your business or how much you're impacting, these limiting beliefs for you want to kind of get in on what is your limiting belief. And I just had a new coach last year, and we were in a group coaching, and she kind of pulled out some questions, and I went, oh boy, I realized I have a bunch of limiting beliefs. Hold on, let me write some down. And I got to 100 really quick. And I went, oh, I have a lot of limiting beliefs around who is my customer, around what do I really want to offer? What is the service that I do? Like what, right? And my limiting belief, it came back to me really was ambiguity, because I didn't know how to talk about what I did in a way that connected to the people I wanted to. So sometimes when we look at limiting beliefs, it isn't, we all have hundreds of them. Like the fact that I could come up with 100 off the top of my head lets you know they're everywhere, right? They're everywhere. Even somebody who's dedicated their life to prosperity still has limiting beliefs. And what does that go back to? It goes back to that I had to remind myself, right? Believe in your own value, right? It's easier to believe in the value of what you are offering to the world if you believe in what you're doing. And so I had to go back and to go, and what is it that I don't believe in, right? What are my limiting beliefs? My limiting beliefs are that this, that, the other thing. We have a lot of navigation that's being interrupted because people are polarizing. And so you have to understand who you are and why you are. Going back to where we started at the beginning of the conversation with Jennifer's point, right? You have to be first. And that who you are is not tied to whether or not the business is going to be doing well or not. That you want to really work on those daily practices. You really want to kind of look at that. Now, these next pieces for you are where you're going to want to start pulling out your camera and just going, oh, I'm not going to remember all these. And I'm not going to go through all of them individually. I'm going to pull them
Hi, Cinder.
out. But I am going to really look at which ones are right for you, right? So how do I get started? How do I stop? How do I do the unhide, right? What's the unhide, right? And the unhide is action. You have to take action on something, So sometimes it is a product demo. I have a little secret project that I've been working on now that's around a subscription box model. And I wasn't sure about it. And then I had someone in my group, I said, well, can I just give you a product demo of what I'm thinking? I'm not complete, but this is where I'm at. And I set it on the table, and Hua is her name. Hua picks up my box and she hugs it. And she's like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for the whole time we've been in class to get this moment. And I went, okay, you just gave me everything I needed, right? Hua just gave me everything I needed on what I wanted out of product demo, right? Is I wanted somebody to like pick up that box of something I created and go, oh, yes, that's for me, right? So sometimes a product demo is just one way to get in there. And then we've done 3 product demos with other people, and watching their faces and doing things makes you excited about what you're doing again. So sometimes a product demo is really around talking to somebody about their process. What did they learn? But it is kind of easy. Sometimes it is looking at feedback on how someone else sees what you're doing versus how you see it. And so asking people for feedback is another way to unhide, but to work the process forward. It just energetically starts working it forward, and you're looking for momentum. You're looking for, okay, that thing made me do another thing, maybe do another thing, maybe do another thing. And sometimes we have to recognize that the reason that we let something sit was because we didn't have the proper momentum, or you only had part of the equation, or I didn't feel secure in what I was doing. If you look at how many things you set to the side and you go back to the top kind of 10 list that we went through, which is actually 11, you will go, oh yeah, I needed more feedback, or I needed more confidence, or I needed this to not suck. I needed it to not suck. Sometimes I just needed to just be better. So asking for feedback is really helpful. In the next kind of line is really looking at kind of mindset. And again, we talk about daily practice. It's a big deal, but sometimes it is any practice. One of the other groups that I host is a group called the 12-Week Year. And the reason that the 12-Week Year accountability group is so popular is not because the 12-Week Year is a great book. The reason that the 12-Week Year accountability group is so successful, and this is what I've learned from doing now 18 rounds of it, is that it teaches people how to keep promises to themselves. And a daily practice is like that. And when people learn to keep promises to themselves, I'm going to make a goal and actually do it, they actually have to learn how to build that. And that's why that accountability group is so popular, is because you start to feel different when you can be trusted with your own dreams, when you can be trusted to get the work done. So any practice that you have in the morning is a little ritual. It's a little promise. And so just sitting down and having tea with yourself in the morning, or sitting down and having any ritual practice, this is a place to start. If you are starting your life with like, I'm late, where are my clothes, I'm in total chaos, that practice really sets your life into a direction. So having a practice that is a little bit more thoughtful and loving will also get your life to move in a little more thoughtful and loving. So when we talk about mindset of starting your day with gratitude, it's just not starting it with chaos, right? So having any type of little ritual will help you build a better business. It'll help you build a better relationship. It'll help you build a better you. So, and these little practices, over time really do make a difference. So sometimes it is to remind myself what I'm doing today or why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like, oh, and so that's why we put little quotes on our stuff. That's why we put all these little words in our life. A lot of people are using language as the tool to give themselves some sort of grounding or affirmation, right? Sandy said at the beginning, like, hey, I had a little mantra, right? This is also mindset and self-worth. So having a little mantra for yourself is great. You also hear me a lot talk about, and we also have a uh, uh, a podcast on this topic of remembering your successes. That this is a common coaching piece that we see is write down the 50 things that you're proud of in your life and these successes that you've had in your life, like just 50 things that you're proud of. And that 50 things, I have another friend that I used to do a podcast with, and he does it as 101 because he's so fancy. But he invites people to write down these things and then look at them. And he will say to them in their coaching process, let's look at your list. Or he'll take their list and he'll put it in categories. These are physical things. These are emotional things. These are, achievement things. So he would kind of go through that list of things that they're proud of to find out what is it that rings their bell. So there's a lot of information to going back and looking at your successes long-term and short-term and writing them down. That is the one thing that happens in the 12-week year accountability group is we write stuff down and you get to really have a measurement of what am I doing right. At the end, I'll give you my win basket, but it's hard to remember all the stuff you're doing right, especially if you're in a startup. In a startup, you really have everything to do. It's not like you have a list to do. You have everything to do, right? It's not like, oh, I have one thing to do. Oh, I have 10 things to do. No, you have everything to do. Like that is cray cray. So you forget that I just spent 8 hours of my life doing everything. And now tomorrow I have to spend another 8 hours of my life doing everything. And then maybe on Thursday, I'm going to take 12 hours because nobody's home. So I get to be alone with my everything, right? And then we obsess. So again, right, just remind yourself what you're doing. Just go, okay, here's what I have. The other thing that works in kind of visualizing your goals is to start understanding the timeline. Like a lot of people will give me a book that says, hey, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. That's my goal. And I go, okay, well, I need 460 hours of time on your calendar after it's written. And they go, what? I said, yeah, there's like the amount of time you have there, but you need 460 hours. So even if you did nothing but work on your book, that's a lot of time. So that's a part-time job. So sometimes when you're looking at goals, you want to just go, I'm gonna do this. You have to also visualize not just the goal, but the timeline. And so a timeline for many people in those goals is really what makes the goal successful. So to say, I'm gonna give 20 hours to social media. Okay, there's your goal. As opposed to I'm gonna do my social media, right? So sometimes it's visualizing your goals, but really looking at the time constraint of that. And the other thing that makes people stop hiding is a breath, is a moment, is to take a minute and stop thinking about all your junk. Stop thinking about all your junk and just really visualize what it would look like done. One of the things about clutter that is such a bummer is you can't visualize what it would look like clean. And so there are there are people who will, this is the love of Fiverr, this is the love of Photoshop, is that you can take a picture of your office and then they will show it to you, because they're going to wipe out all the things that are cluttery, and then they're going to give you a visual clean. So you can see what it will look like clean. And this little before and after on Fiverr is really a fun tool to go, oh, here's what I have. Can you rearrange my furniture? Can you do this other thing? So sometimes it is just visualizing in another way, and just looking at how it can be different. There are tools here for you. Celebration is another thing I put on here, of how to stop thinking about what's not getting done and start celebrating what has been done. So one of the things that's great about a birthday is that it's a chance for you to go, oh, what am I proud of this year? So if you just do the birthday list of like, what's new in your business this year? What'd you do? What'd you hold on to? What'd you not lose? It's a way to celebrate a win. And it is why I really like to bring up what month did you find what month did you go into business? Was it the fall? Was it the summer? Was it whatever? Understand your season, understand your start date. Give your business its own birthday, not just, oh, I did it in 1999. No, I did it in October of 1999. And now you have a natural celebration space every year for your business. Okay, I have only 2 more of these big long slides, but here's another one to take a picture of, which is, again, just really looking at, whoops, oh, I guess this is the last one, is really looking at another way to kind of come in to how do you get moving? How do you get out of hiding? And a thank you note works. A thank you note puts you into a space to go, just write a thank you to somebody who you've been doing business with, somebody that you're loving, somebody who's doing something great in the world. And that's really helpful. For me, another thing on this list is really working on my pitch. That sometimes a pitch for me takes 6 to 8 hours. So I have to really commit to it because I'm looking at a contract that I'm going to do a lot of work on. So a pitch for me really takes a lot of effort. So sometimes it is looking at a short pitch of, why do you want to take this class? Why do you want to join this group? Why do you want to whatever? And pitching really helps me personally. So I'm always going to encourage you to just figure out your pitch. And sometimes that pitch is why somebody should keep doing something, right? That if you've had this amount of success, you might want this, we might want to continue that momentum. So sometimes working on a pitch or summarizing someone's progress or seeing something differently. The other thing that social media has as a tool is there's so many fun things out there. There's so many fun things to share. So sometimes it is really looking at something that will resonate with your friends or your customers, or that they're seeing something in a new way. One of the things of just sharing a tip, whether it's yours or somebody else's, doesn't matter. And here's the interesting thing about parasocial relationships. Parasocial relationships is knowing somebody online. And parasocial relationships are gaining as the mainframe of our relationships. So we know more people online than we do in real life. You see more people in a day online than you do in real life. So we used to see everybody at work. Now we see them online. So in those parasocial relationships, even if you're sharing someone else's content, you will get credit for it in your customer's mind because they came to your site to see it. So the curation process does not deter people being attached to your brand. So that's a big deal in parasocial relationships. And we just learned that lately. So think about how you want to spend your time, how you want to invest in something. And sometimes that is following a lead. Sometimes you have a hunch. Sometimes you have a hunch, like, this is the area that I want to work in. I like this one neighborhood, or I want this one type of person. I only like people who like chocolate ice cream. If you do not like chocolate ice cream, you are not my friend. You just can't be my friend, right? I don't want to do business with people that will refuse to eat chocolate ice cream, especially if you're an ice cream maker, right? So you may want to be friends. You either need more products, you need strawberry and vanilla for the non-chocolate lovers, or you just go, no, I'm Choco only. I'm having chocolate ice cream friends only, only. And that, again, sometimes people call that niche, right? That, yeah, they're Neapolitan, it's there, it exists in the world, but it only exists because the chocolate is always in the middle. Notice what the landing strip is in all Neapolitan ice cream. Chocolate is always in the middle. So, you can take it anyway, share the story, do what you're doing. And sometimes it is also about tweaking and offering. The way that I'm looking at stuff is sometimes not the whole picture that someone else is seeing. So sometimes it's just looking at an offering that you're doing and going, let me rephrase that. So an example just happened to us, which is I had somebody from Canada just text me to go, hey, we don't have this way of money exchange. You're using this particular platform. That's not the platform we use. Is there another way for me to pay you? And I said, oh, well, you can actually, do you own a Visa card? And she was like, yeah, I have a Visa card. It'll do a Visa. A Visa will do all the work for you. And she was like, oh, okay, great. I can do that. So sometimes it is understanding that an obstacle doesn't have to be an obstacle, but if I tweak something a little bit, then somebody can kind of get in on that deal. So sometimes that's around payment structures. Sometimes that's that somebody it has an obstacle that they don't know. And payment structures often are an obstacle for a customer. So you don't have to hide from that. You can just go understand what are the payment structures you're going to take. Okay, my final tips and takeaway. One is, again, to remind you that you're going to give yourself some homework. So that's the question I'm going to ask. The second is to kind of create a vision. That's the big piece here is what's the homework that you're going to take for yourself, not what am I assigning for you. Karen gave us our homework, which is the reset button. And really start to look at what's there. This little face, I just remind, get to the action of enjoying your life, enjoying the purpose, enjoying what you're making as magic. Every day should feel like you're a puppy. Every day should feel like you're excited to go play. When you are looking at the business and the creative and the yum of what you get to do this. You are not digging a ditch. You are not doing something that is horrible. You do not have a horrible job. You have a great job. You have a job you chose. You have a job that you're enjoying. So get to the action of enjoying it. We want to enjoy it. And so, again, I'm going to just finish us out with that same quote, right? Action is the engine of confidence. It just start somewhere, just start. That was a lot of info. So take a breath. I'm going to start with you again, Karen. And Karen did the outline. So she already knew it was coming, but I could tell by the amount of time she wrote stuff down that there was still new information. What was new for you, Karen?
Well, first of all, I want to say I put in the chat what is actually on the bingo card. And the bingo card is a little game you can play with yourself about something to do that day. So there's that. Actually, limiting belief is not new, but I think that we don't examine that often enough.
Yeah.
We have these little ways we tell ourselves that it's okay, because we just say, oh, that's okay. But it's not. And I think that sometimes you get over it. So that's a win, And believing in in your own values is very important. And I think sometimes we feel like we're sacrificing it because we do this or that. And if you really are embedded in your values, you're going to know it right away. And so you just stop doing that. And I think that's really hard because that's your authentic self is when you act from your values.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I love it.
yeah.
I
So
love it. Did you give
anyway,
yourself homework? Did you give yourself homework?
I always have.
Yeah. Is your homework the reset button?
My first homework is to clear off my right-hand desk so I can put my calendar there.
Oh, that's good homework.
Yeah,
That's good homework.
that's good. But clutter for me isn't really like clearing clutter. It's kind of an excavation.
Right. Right. It's true. It's true. Well, clutter
Yeah.
being unfinished decisions too. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Jennifer, you knew I'd call you as soon as you walked away. So if you're standing right there, you can come back. Otherwise, I'm going to go on to Sandy. There she is. I knew it. Are you going to get a cat? I feel like you were going to get a cat.
Fun. No, I was going to get one of my millions of notebooks because it was involving my homework. It's here somewhere. So what I've been,
I'm starting it. I need a new homework notebook. I love it. I love it.
I have so many. But this has to do with because I'm building my new business right now, and the program I'm in, the instructor there is strongly encouraging me to reach out to my social contacts and whatnot. And it's not necessarily right now that it was fear, not hiding from my customers, but not yet being able to confidently articulate what I do, which I'm getting that honed down, and that is it probably good enough for now? Yes. So the homework will be to determine which way I want to go. Because there's many options, but the other thing, there's this conflict of no, you don't do family and friends, and in some aspects, and other ones it's like, well, yeah, you do. And it's just like I'm trying to get to that middle ground of, okay, tell me what you mean.
Yes.
Because I mean, it's kind of coming from the same source, but it's like, okay, so in this area it's okay, this area it's not, and it's like my brain is just like,
Yes. Yes. So can we just go for just a minute, and can you share with the group your new project? It's very exciting.
My new project centers around healing from childhood emotional neglect. So it is helping people recover from, we'll call it trauma, the trauma of childhood and emotional neglect, so that they can start moving forward into a life of joy by moving into their authentic, strong selves.
Right. Right.
So
I'm gonna just, so Sandy, you heard what she does. And that conversation of, do you talk to your friends? Do you get new customers? Any feedback?
Well, I'd say you do all of the above. I mean, most, I mean, most of my business comes from referrals, but if I did more social media outreach, I'm sure I'd get random people. But I also am, I don't know if I'm saying what Mickey wants me to say, but a lot of times the people that I don't know that contact me, most of it's spam or phishing. So I'm very, very wary of people. They have to have a story. They have to say how they met me or how they came
right.
to know me. Otherwise, it's like, but yeah, I think you need to definitely you talk to your family and friends about what you do. And but you know, when you have your website or your social media or whatever you do to get the word out, you know, it's good to have you know, like your family and friends can give you reviews on there. And people really like that. Is that
Yeah, I think that's great.
It does. The conflict came in for me because what she had said was, you don't want your family and friends into moving into joy. You don't, well, that, I'm sorry. In your Facebook group.
Right.
Mean to self. she says, you don't want your family and friends there because that's like working with them all the time and you don't want that. She said she's mostly seen it just doesn't go well. Well, people, because I've accidentally posted my live to my personal instead of into my group. And so
Yeah.
family's seen it anyway. So I still have a few in there anyway. And I'm like, well, I can just delete them if it gets out of hand, whatever.
Right.
So, but then she's like, nope, you need to reach out. I'm like, well, reach out.
Well,
I think,
So I think it's one
I
of
think
those,
it's,
one's better than the other. Okay.
yeah. Karen, you
Next.
want to respond?
working with family and friends in that capacity that you're talking about is very
Yeah.
difficult. For one
Okay.
thing, you're biased. You can't help but be biased. And that's one of the reasons why they don't want you know, most coaches don't work with their family and friends because as a coach, I'm not your friend. I mean, I'm your
Yeah.
cheerleader, I'm your whatever. And for your family, it sometimes can create bad feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you're there,
And
they might be part of the problem.
and that was kind of what she was getting at. And so when I let those people in, there was a little hesitation, but I'm like, you take it for what it's worth. When I do those, I don't even think about them being family friends. It's like they're just there. If they don't like it, A, they can leave, or B, if they make comments that aren't supporting the group, bye. And we'll deal with it on the outside later if we have to. But
Well, here's the great news. Can I respond to it?
yes.
So here's the great news. If you start a group and they don't actually, if they're not actually consuming the content, they won't see your group anymore. It'll just disappear from their feed.
Well, they're members.
Yeah, even if they're a member, that
Oh, okay.
Facebook
Oh, yeah,
algorithm. So
right.
like even when we started the group for the 12-week year, because I'm like, hey, I got to give you guys videos and information and stuff like that. On any given day, even if I hit highlight or everyone, less than 14% of the people see what I've got.
Yeah.
So you still have an 86% chance that nobody's going to see it.
Yeah.
So they have to be wanting to like that content.
Mhm.
And if you've noticed the new badges that are coming through on groups or business sites, it is to say, we're going to flag this as somebody who's a super fan. This is somebody who always
Yeah.
wants to see that piece. The reason that they're giving out badges is really so that they can program it that this person always wants to see this content.
Yeah.
The other thing is that going back to parasocial relationships is we are often knowing people on their content and feeling like we know them personally. Like, I know I like that person because I like their content. And in the future, you've seen it already, right? How many people, so there's this old guy that I used to start listening to when I was a teenager. And he was always had, really, really helped form my life. And his name was Tony Robbins, right? Everybody thinks they know Tony Robbins because his face is everywhere, right? We've seen the books and the tapes and the this and the classes and so forth. But that is a parasocial relationship. I hold a place in my heart for that person and his teachings because I've benefited from them. And that is a parasocial relationship. That person is dear to me, but I've never met them. So that will also be what will happen for you, is there will be many people who that have seen stuff I've done that got to hug me for the first time. And I go, oh my gosh. But I've seen them on a screen like this for years.
Yeah.
Right? So even this type of grouping, we have a parasocial relationship. And some of those will transcend into personal encounters and some of them won't. So the parasocial relationship is going to evolve. It's already at 25%. So 25% of all connection to other humanity for people is parasocial. It's online. It's you checking your Facebook page. It's you on your Twitter. It's you on your whatever. 25% of our relationship contact is it's not interactive. It's receiving information. So I think I would make the content. So here's my advice. So after all of that, right? Because your question is about me, right? But after all of
Always, Mickey, always.
it's always about me. It's always about me. But when you have a topic like what you are talking about, it has such a broad spectrum for people. My advice is to let it be feral for a while. To just go, let it out the door and see what happens. And that's why YouTube is great. YouTube Shorts are great because YouTube is really focusing in on its shorts, and they're less than 1 minute. They're a clip, and I'm watching people who have content, little bits of knowledge, under 3 minutes, really let it go out there and become feral. And those people will find that quib, that piece. And so my advice is that, again, the world is big. It's only going to become more parasocial. We're going to spend more and more time not in reality, but in a virtual reality. And we're also going to want information that we can use right away, or information that cues us to another. The other thing about those YouTube Shorts that I'm really liking is they have a button on the back end that says refer to a video. So you can take a quip, a little one of here's what me talking about whatever, and here's the bigger video it came from. And
okay.
So you can instantly say, here's a referring video. So want to go deeper, go here. And that right there is what puts YouTube ahead of everybody else in your subject matter. Because you can have long form content and you can have short form content that pulls back to long form. So again, it's easy to be feral with under 3 minutes. But you can refer them back to, hey, my name's Jennifer, this is what I'm looking at, and here's how you get into that group, right? So you can refer every one of those little shorts to the same intro video.
Okay.
So that and again, I think you'll enjoy feral. And I do mean that like a cat you find in the woods, because that is what YouTube is like whatever it is out in the woods, it's on YouTube.
Well, you know, people, I think that a lot of times when I don't know how to do something, I'll go right there to YouTube and type it in, and what you get back is pretty feral.
Yes, it's a Wild West out there. I mean, it's just.
But I've
it's
learned
fantastic.
I've learned how to repair a lot of things that way. So
Yeah. And we are learning to repair our ADHD, our trauma, our anxiety, our Tourette's. I mean, all of it. And we're also learning how to build things, right? We're building a deck. We're building a school. We're building whatever. I mean, YouTube is going to, its massive plan for growth right now is really, really huge. And the reprogramming that they've done as a company on new starts is huge. And you are now seeing people that used to exclusively go on these other platforms looking to put on YouTube because their ability to shut down is kinder. So when you get shut down on other social media platforms, you can lose all your content.
That's why a lot of people have moved to Substack. There's a lot of writers out there, independent journalists that I listen to, that have gone there because they've gotten threatened. Yeah.
So it may be a Substack group. Sure. There's lots of different ways to do it, but again, you're just going to focus in on the messaging that everyone wants to hear. And that might be, I look to you, what's the thing that somebody needs to know about childhood neglect?
You're asking, it's my turn to chime
Oh,
in?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. The fact that it can hold you back as an adult because you're still coming from whatever fear or hurt that inner child is still holding on to.
Right,
It's holding you from your joy
right.
as an
Now,
adult.
we're gonna do a quick poll. And I'm gonna start with Sandy. Sandy, was that interesting to you?
Yes,
See?
absolutely.
Karen, was that interesting to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're a small group,
Woot!
but out of the three, all three went, oh, that's interesting. So stay with what you know. Stay with what you know. That's good homework. Sandy, what did you give yourself as homework?
Oh, I have a lot. Well, I'm gonna do Karen's bingo card. I like this. I'm gonna work on that. Do the things up there.
Didn't Karen do a great job on that bingo card?
Very, very nice. I
Yes.
love it. It's like, oh, it says posted about my business on social media this week. Well, no, I haven't done that yet, but I was in, Paris. So, but anyway, but I was on social media, just not for work. Let's see. Well, one of the things that we didn't really talk about, but is something that's on my homework is I just like every day I want somebody to sit down with me and help me with tech, like to learn all about my phone and all the things it can do, and all about
Yes.
my computer and social media, because I just feel very limited that, I don't know how to do this, and I don't know how to do that, and I don't have anybody to help me to do that kind of stuff. And the reason I want to do that is I want to be more streamlined and efficient, just with all things. There's a lot of things in my business, that I could be more streamlined with, like a purchase agreement. I could have it's easy to pre-fill in the blanks with all the normal stuff. And then if you need to change anything, of course you can. But it saves you a lot of time. I am going to focus my energy on the value I provide to others rather than question my capabilities. I thought that was excellent. And also, like Mickey's list, I'm going to write down my limiting beliefs and look at that. I'm going to spend time analyzing my competition because I'm hugely into comparison. Compare all day long. Ugh. And then I have this, I'm pretty good with this, but the thing about have a great person or a great company in each stage of my work process, I do have mostly that, but there's always gaps. Like I wish I had a really good person for that. Like whenever I need a property manager, I gotta go ask somebody, like, who do you use? Like Renter Warehouse just seems so generic, but if I have a contact, anyway, stuff like that, working on my resource list. I want to get back to my resource list. So that was my homework. That's my homework list.
I gotta say that fill in the gaps piece,
Yes.
it can really slap you. I mean, that you start to go, oh gosh, well, you start to feel the hesitation as soon as the conversation starts. Of what a lot of people, our tax person, both of them were firms, and we had 4 when we started, 2 aged out, and now the other one died of cancer and one now is aged out. So out of 4 when I started, I'm down to 0 tax people. And whenever somebody asks me that, I get this little pang.
Yes.
That I just go, oh, okay, I need to find a tax person. So now whenever I'm talking to people, I start to go, hey, just putting it out there, these are the 5 things that I need. I need this, I need that. One of the things, you also know Shakina, one of the things that has been so helpful to me is having a traveling notary. That, for $150, she'll show up at your door. And, I'm going to send you the paperwork, and for $150, she'll show up at your door. And if you're in the metro. And that was such a great tool. So even when somebody doesn't use it, they now know that one exists.
Mhm.
So
She will even show up at a hospital in the middle of the night
Yeah, yeah. She will show up in a hospital in the middle of the night. Yeah, that's a big deal.
And she's
And
still
so,
doing it?
yeah,
Okay.
so Shakina is that is something that that's what she went to school for, is to be a traveling notary. And so sometimes just when I tell people I have that, now they now have that piece of information and now they're going to trade on it. So again, that referral concept, but that referral concept, what I love about your resource book, you did it to streamline and to make sure that you have all these good people, because you have somebody that can paint things or fix things or whatever, is that brings you a piece of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something to trade on. But now, as soon as I hand it out to that person, now they can trade on it too. And so they get this kind of double piece of information, because everyone needs a great mechanic. Everyone needs a great hairdresser. Everyone needs a great masseuse. Everyone needs a great, all of these things, right? So having somebody that can paint your house at a reasonable rate, or paint just the bathroom, right? It's not the
Right.
same person that's going to paint my bathroom that's going to paint the outside of my house.
Right.
So the other thing about that filling in the gaps list is it somehow makes a personality like yours feel prepared.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm.
So that's the other thing that I think anyone who's watching this, of why you have a resource list, is because you can feel prepared.
Right.
I found this box in the garage, of which I was throwing out. Is I found my old, it used to be in my office and it was about this thick, and it was it had a picture of Mike Worth Consulting on it, and it was filled with business cards. And I had to throw it away because it had been out in the garage since before COVID. And it was moldy. But I opened it up and I'm like, yeah, this is a death trap. I'm not going to try to save any of this. But I went through and looked at all of the business cards of people that I would go, oh yeah, let's pull this out. And I would, clunk out this big box, and people would be like, oh my gosh, look at all those. Oh my gosh. Hold on. I have their card. Clunk, blink, 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 blink. And it was to go, we got you. And the benefit of that was I had a place to get all those business cards. I had a place to give them from. But it was just a navigation tool for me.
Mm-hmm.
How many people do we have that do taxes? How many people do we have that do these other things? So when you're filling in the gaps for yourself, I would have looked to the gaps that you need in the process you're giving as a service, right? What are the gaps? So if I were going to do that in Jennifer's new business, to go, what are the referrals that you need? Start looking for those connections. And those also can be your referring agents. How many times, Sandy, when you go to somebody and go, hey, I want to put you on my resource list, because you ask. I see you ask people.
Sometimes, yeah, many times.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I used to always ask,
yes.
but I don't have like a formal list anymore.
Oh, okay.
And because of how long I've been in the business, I used to have this great list. It was printed. I even had it on my website. Well, everybody gets older and they transition into different things. A handyman becomes a contractor. The electrician for residential, now he just does commercial. All this kind of stuff happens. And so that's why I don't have that solid list anymore. I'm usually going to my Remax Results Mastermind Facebook group and looking on there and see who's so we can hit this. We've all referred people.
Yeah.
So I get up-to-date referrals.
Yes.
But I want to be more organized and have those up-to-date referrals more on a list that I can share more readily.
And in that list, you may only, like, as you go through your process, you may actually only need 10 things.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
To just shorten the task list.
Right. Like today, I need somebody to mow somebody's lawn in Shakopee, and I don't have a go-to lawn care person in Shakopee. So that's going to be something that I either find on my own or I reach out to my group.
Right. And do they have their own mowing machine?
Who?
Do they have the place that needs the lawn mowed? Is the lawn mower on site?
Oh, I'm not sure. My client is out of the country. I don't
Okay.
know if he probably does still have a lawnmower. Are you thinking somebody could just go over and use his lawnmower?
Yeah.
Because you've got lawn people.
But you have to have the tools. So they're
Got
not
it.
going to drag a lawnmower over, but yes.
Got it.
We
Okay.
have people that'll go out there, but they, it's not cheap, but it's because they
Right.
got to have a 3-hour minimum. So,
Yeah. Cool.
but stuff like that, right? What's available.
Exactly. Okay.
So out of today, I love this reset button. I love the bingo card. And I also, end up with my own takeaways of what to do. And one of the things that I really really align with as well is that tech conversation, right? How often does my inability to use technology get in my way? And I started that on a many 12-week years ago, 12-week year that I was like, I had that same goal of I need to know my tech better, or I needed to know how to use my camera better. So in that, what I've found is that I just pick one device that I need to know better, and then I just like, let me find, let me check off. I want to learn 10 things. So one of them was shortcuts. So I needed 10 shortcuts on using a Microsoft product that I would use. And every time I use it, I go, I did that. So good.
Genius.
Genius. So I would also pick, if you're looking at technology that you can't actually utilize, to just go, look, I just got to come up with 10. I need 10 things that I can do that are better in this one area, and then I count it as over. So, and for me, 10 shortcuts that I actually enjoy felt great. I saw some others, but I didn't really count them as my winning tools. And my biggest winning tool in Microsoft is the shortcut where you hit the flag, then you hit the letter X, and then a little menu pops up, and you hit the letter U twice, and it shuts everything down. Every app, it closes you out of everything. It is like, bink, 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 done. It shuts everything down. It closes out every app. It's fantastic. But
everything on your computer or your phone?
Everything on my computer.
Got it. Okay.
I don't have an Apple, so I'm still of the Microsoft crowd.
Yeah, same.
But sometimes I have all the stuff, but I also needed to save everything I was working on. So it'll just close everything out, shut it down. Okay, great. And that's not me clicking all the stuff or okay, the machine knows how to do that. So I like the idea of technology for you. So we have gone through a big day. I like filling in the gaps, right? Of here's my process from new customer to paycheck, is to go, what are the gaps in between that space? And what is it that I need to put in so I feel confident, right? Because we're hiding because we don't have the answer, or that we don't know what to do. Like Jennifer's conversation of, I'm feeling some conflict, or I'm getting mixed results, or I'm getting whatever. So because I have that conflict, I don't know which way to go. And the answer is I just start somewhere. And I think that's actually what you ended up doing, Jennifer, is you just opened your group.
Yeah, I got the group going. Now it's just getting the group out there. And
Yeah.
we ran into a snag with the Facebook ads, but then my coach was like, well, don't get hung up on that. You have no reason not to have paying customers now. Reach out, do your networking.
Yeah.
Like, fine.
Right. Fine.
So
It's great. It's great.
Jennifer, I was just thinking that I have known you for 25 years.
it's been a long minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
That's so fun.
And it's been a beautiful journey, Karen. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Ah, very nice. Very nice. Okay, well, I'm going to close out today by giving us your words of advice. So give us your words of advice today. I'm going to start with Sandy, because she knows how to do these. Sandy, what's the words of advice you have for us today?
Stop hiding. Stop hiding your everything.
Right.
People know who you are.
Right. Stop hiding. Karen, what's the advice you have for us today?
Well, I think I'm gonna take Sandy's advice. I don't really hide. I think that being aware of when you do hide is really a good thing, because sometimes I am hiding, but I'm pretending it's about something else. So I think not wanting to face something or to do something is, I've been around a long time, so I have a lot of good ways of fooling myself.
Yeah. 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 I think that's great advice. Okay, Jennifer, give us your great advice.
On the spot, first class. I'm going to go back to mine with the inner child. If you're feeling that fear, check in with your inner child. See if there's an experience back there that you need to process and let go of.
Yeah.
To help you move forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's great advice. Well, here's the great advice I have for you today. One, thank you for showing up. It's meaningful. Thank you for participating. It's meaningful. And the advice that I have for you is that it's okay to be okay. It's okay to be okay. It doesn't have to be great, doesn't have to be whatever, but it's okay to be okay. And that we don't hear everywhere. But sometimes just being okay and still showing up is okay. So have a great time. Have a great week. Have a great month.
Thanks.
All right.
you.
I'll see you
Bye.
soon. Thank
Nice to
you.
see
And
everybody.
Janet's
Bye-bye.
watching us on the
Bye.
end. Any words for Janet before you go? Bye, Janet.
Bye, Janet. We miss you. I
We
miss
miss you.
We
We'll
do
see you on the
miss you.
replay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.